Hi guys, so this is my second attempt at a Fringe reaction video because the first time I did it, I just started talking and then I reached time limit like exceptionally quickly and I didn't get to talk about all the things I wanted to talk about. And I'm sorry, but it's not going to go in chronological order. I'm just going to jump around. First off, Donald, love him. I was so excited the way they did that because you meet him and you're like, wait, we already know Donald. We already love Donald. What? Go Donald! So his demise was pretty upsetting for me. It was a little anticlimactic. I mean, I understand why he had to be a fallen soldier in the battle of, yeah, whatever, I get it. Because they needed Walter to, like, go through the thingy, and it was, like, very symmetry-y, and yes, I know the word for that is symmetrical, but it wasn't really symmetrical, it was more like symmetry-y. There you go. I also want to talk about Nina Sharp. Throughout this show, we've had very, the times of suspicion as far as where Nina was coming from, and whether she was really good intention, and then, of course, we had Mina, who was not good. But this particular Nina Sharp, she, I want to say went out with a bang, but that's kind of a bad pun. But my point is, her speech to Winmark was quite possibly one of the best FU speeches I've ever seen in the history of television. She's like, you're an animal! Oh god, it was so good, and like talking about lizards, and no one wants to be compared to lizards because they're kind of creepy. It was just all very exciting, and then Walter's reaction was just too much for me to handle. And then when Walter was like, it's a beautiful name, Astrid, I was like, no! Stop, it's too beautiful. And Jean was there. And I wanted to talk about Broyles in the end. And he was all, yeah, the feeling's mutual. Oh, wow, that was so cool. And then Peter's all, yeah, you're really lucky this room doesn't have ventilation. Because it was all the, oh god, it was so cool. And Walter's like, make them float, because I want them to float. And the little, like, squid thingies are popping out the bellies. And that was just such, like, a nice way to send off the show by, like, making us remember all the good times. And by good times, I mean gross times. What else? I loved the fact that we got to see Lincoln and Olivia and their life happily ever after over at Fringe Division in the alternate universe. I didn't think they looked as old as I expected them to look, but maybe because they're that beautiful, age just doesn't touch them the way it touches everybody else, like us mere mortals. I appreciated how she was like, don't be checking out my young ass. I mean, that was pretty funny. That was such a faux Olivia thing to say. I feel like we're friends. Yeah, so all that crossing over was pretty badass of Olivia. Of course, not quite as badass as when she did the thing with the lights and her anger and then smush! I mean, really, that's the best way to get revenge. As in, you just have to sit there and let your hatred and anger and thirst for avenging your daughter's death totally take over. That was epic. And that kind of harkens back to the moment between Olivia and Olivia. And she was like, you have a beautiful family. Okay, now go save yours. It's just too beautiful. It's just too beautiful. Oh, it was too beautiful. Like when Walter was like, Peter, you're my favorite thing. And I was like, no, this speech is not my favorite thing. I can't handle this speech. As far as the ending goes, I am both unsatisfied and satisfied. I mean, it's a beautiful ending. But I'm kind of upset that they don't necessarily remember everything that happened. I mean, that's kind of unclear. I don't know. I have to check the message board to see if other people are kind of wrapping their head around it. But all in all, the tulip at the end, I think, was quite beautiful. And it was just a beautiful symbol. And, I mean, who couldn't love that? And anyway, I'm not yet recovered from all the Fringe feelings. And maybe I'll never will be. But otherwise, that's it for today. I hope that was at least partly coherent. Bye!